You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. 1 month of advertising starts at $200. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Get nervous. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We are in studio live, and I'm hoping that y'all can hear us because we have new microphones. And Jennie Murray is here. Good morning, Jennie.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. I love that when we were starting, before we started recording, I got excited, so we started early. Sorry, everyone. That one of the things you said was, people don't even know they need me until they know what I even do until you explain it, which I think is always interesting when you have something really good and you have to be like, shake people to be like, no,
Exactly.
You need this. So tell everybody what you do.
I've been a physical therapist for 20 years. Actually, in October will be 20 years since I got my license, which is hard to believe.
Wow.
I started off my career very typical kind of corporate physical therapy, and basically got burnt out after about 10 to 15 years. I had a friend quit physical therapy, open a restaurant. I started thinking what else I could do. And the problem was the volume we have to see, all the patients, because the insurance model is kind of failing us and not reimbursing the clinicians enough. And they're having us treat multiple people at the same time, not giving you a chance to spend enough time to figure out somebody's problem.
Mm-hmm.
So my practice now, I'm in private practice. I set my own appointment times. I do an hour and a half evaluations. I do 1 hour follow-ups. I basically choose what the patient needs, and the outcomes are a lot better because I figure out the underlying issues faster. So you don't need that many visits because I'm very focused. So when people think about physical therapy, they're like, oh yeah, I've already done that. It didn't work because they were in that gym environment where they had to use equipment and they didn't see the same therapist, so they didn't get enough time. So they don't give me a chance until they know exactly what my business model is.
Yeah, how come it has gone into, it's like a conveyor belt, like I Love Lucy on the Chocolate Factory, where it's like go 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 go, and that has to be really difficult for someone who cares.
Exactly.
To watch people kind of suffer like that and go through that when you're taking advantage of them? Is that kind of what's happening in that situation?
I've had a lot of sleepless nights thinking about, oh, I should have done this with that patient. Oh, I could have done that, but I didn't have a chance. Maybe I'll have a chance next time. I'm not doing my best work. They're not getting the best care. Where it's all about profits and billing and the codes and everything else. So you're not allowed to do this with this patient because they have Blue Cross. And United won't pay for this code, and Medicare only allows this much, So many limits that are not even up to the physical therapist to choose the best care for the patient. The whole medical system is experiencing this, and a lot of even physicians are leaving that model and starting their own practices all over the place.
Yeah, I know when I went for mine, they were like, you have, I think it was 15 sessions. Mm-hmm. So let's see what we can do in 15 sessions. And then you're out. How long have you had your own private practice then?
So I started off in California. I had my own practice. I was fortunate enough where I got to try it out part-time while still having a stable paycheck in my regular job. And I just over time added more hours to my practice until I went full-time. So I've been doing this privately for about 6 years. In Waxhaw, about 2 years. I had to kind of restart my practice, but I knew I could do it because I already had that model working.
From a kind of entrepreneur business standpoint, how was it to move? You moved across the country into some place you had no idea about. And then what was that like how long did it take you to move and then go, okay, it's time for me to start putting feelers out there? Kind of, I'm assuming you kind of did some research on who was
Yes.
out there already. What was that like?
Well, it was a whole, you have to have a lot of leap of faith, right?
Mhm.
So you come to a place, you're not sure the demographic necessarily. I didn't realize people here are not from here, you know. And then I had to get my kids situated in new schools, new sports. So it took me about 6 months to get my license in South Carolina and North Carolina, and then find a space. I knew I could have gotten a job day one if I just walked into a physical therapy office.
Mhm.
But I knew I didn't want to have a boss anymore ever. It took me a long time to find that space. And then the space I found was a little bit more than I needed. And so I had to have a leap of faith that I would find somebody to share it with me. And then start networking, start really going out there. I do a lot of workshops in different businesses. If you get a bunch of people together, I'll come and explain to them what I do and all my little specialties that I have. Pelvic floor tends to be the one that people really don't know anything about, and I have to explain that.
Which she's going to in a second.
I will.
That's what I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and just little by little, I did some advertising on Facebook. I did some kind of free workshops and things like that, and got the word out. And now I have my little team of referral sources that are putting my name out there, so that's helpful too.
How much time? Because I feel like in a very short amount of time,
Mhm.
generally speaking, in
Right.
life, that you've really been able to build up a name for yourself, for your
Mhm.
business in a place that's growing, and people are being added to this area a lot. So
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
if there's competition for you or not, but like, how does that feel to have made your practice what it is already in such a short amount of time?
No, I think I mean, I'm proud of myself for doing what, and everybody is always telling me like it's really amazing. For me, it's kind of like day to day
Yeah.
sort of thing, right? I don't have a lot of 5-year plans,
Yeah.
10-year plans. I have an idea, but I don't know the timeline. And so I was pleasantly surprised that the community welcomed me the way that they
Mm.
did. And I like to think that I'm good at what I do. And so my results, when you make people better in very short amount of time, the word gets out
You've
because
got billboards walking around everywhere.
they've tried all. I treat a lot of patients who have failed other therapies. They've just been doing, other PT, chiropractic, massage, or nothing. They just didn't know what to do. They've been living with symptoms they shouldn't have been living with for a long time. And I find myself, I'm a good problem solver, and I kind of don't just look at where the problem is, but what is causing it. And doing that holistic approach is also I'm only able to do that in private practice, because
Yeah.
otherwise, if I get a referral for the knee, I have to treat the knee. If I treat the neck, because I think it's related with the nerves, they won't cover it, right? So the insurances are guiding the treatments, and here I'm able to really look at the whole body and how it works together. So outcomes are faster.
I feel like I need a 3-hour long interview with you, because the more you talk, the more like, well, what about this? I have
Yeah.
questions about that. And at some point, we're going to get to the pelvic floor. But
It's okay.
are there things that is it more preventative? Is that you hope people do? Or is it really like, I have a problem and now I'm going to you?
I would love for people to get into the preventative.
Yeah.
I'm trying to educate the community to listen to their bodies, right? If your body's telling you something, the motto is, if you listen to your body when it whispers, you won't have to hear it screaming,
Mm.
and people wait. They're like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Well, how long has that been sort of fine? And then it starts screaming, and
Yeah.
then they come in with a huge problem when we could have fixed it when it was way earlier in shorter amount of time. So
Mm.
really, you don't want to ignore your symptoms. I have more people now thinking that way, though. They're coming to me, say, during pregnancy, or they just want to make sure their gym workouts are safe or
Yeah.
effective, or they want a stretching program, or they just need certain things. Their neck isn't moving as well as it could be, but it's not really bothering them. But why not restore it before it becomes a problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I still am treating a lot of people with issues that could have been prevented, and I'm trying to get them to be like, hey, this would have been a lot easier. But pain is a great motivator. So
Yeah.
if you don't have it, people stop kind of caring about what's going on with their bodies. So
Yeah.
prevention is hard. it's hard to motivate yourself to do the things that you need to do.
Yeah, because you have to think ahead.
You have to think ahead. You have to be consistent, and nobody likes, to do exercises and stretches. And I do give homework because we have to connect the brain and the body. Don't just rely on me to fix you.
Yeah.
So you have to do those things. And but we make it reasonable. I don't expect an hour a day. It's like people tell me all the time, I don't have time to do my exercises. Well, do you drive? Do you ever stop at a red light? Let's do a stretch while you're there. We're just gonna
Instead
do
of checking your
something.
cell phone to see what your
Don't
text
check your
messages
cell
are.
phone.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna do some abs, some posture check. We're gonna work on that in those times that are like waiting for your kid at school. How many hours are spent in that line, right?
Yeah.
Recline your seat. We're gonna do some things.
That's
Standing
so
in line
smart.
at the grocery store. I try to make it functional and reasonable for people too. And so then they're more compliant with my program and they're getting better faster too. So you can't just expect people to just stop their lives and do the stretches on the floor every day,
Yeah.
So
Are there things that people, maybe someone's going to a traditional physical therapist right now, are there signs, things that you can mention that are like, if this is happening to you or not happening, like maybe you should think about whether or not that's the best person to go to?
Yeah, no, everywhere you go these days, you have to advocate for yourself. You just have to. If something doesn't feel right, speak up. If something's not working, if you've been going somewhere for like 5 to 10 sessions and you're not experiencing any benefit, they have to pivot. They can't be doing the same thing. I see people who've been to other therapy places for 28 visits. I'm like, so nothing was getting better. Well, I was thinking it was just going to take time, right? When I'm treating patients, I'm expecting some change. Like every time I treat them, but sometimes not every other, but very shortly after we start treatment, I'm expecting range of motion to increase, your pain to decrease, your function to get better, something that is changing. If nothing's working, you have to talk to your clinician about, hey, what else can we do? If they're not changing something up, you got to look somewhere else, because don't just keep doing the same thing expecting a different result, right? Isn't that definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's like anything else. If you go to a restaurant and the food's bad, don't go back.
Well, yeah,
like,
but sometimes I give them another chance,
but
maybe once more. I'm not going to go 20 times.
Yeah.
So yes, so stuff like that. But sometimes it's not even the therapist's fault. It's the system they're in. They only have maybe 20 minutes with you hands-on instead of like the full hour. So they can't do everything, but they should still sort of give you the best treatment they can, basically.
Okay, now we'll get to pelvic floor. Why are you specializing in that? How'd you get there?
Okay.
And all of the questions around that.
Well, what is the pelvic floor? People ask me, what is the pelvic floor? The pelvis, I should have brought my model. It's the area in between your hip bones, right? And it is such an important area and so ignored in the medical system. It's responsible for your posture, your organs, making sure you're continent and sexual function, all the things, and all the muscles in your body kind of have an effect on that area. But the way that I got into it is I joined a run club back in California for moms, right? And so we're running, we're training, and a lot of these moms, they're giggling because they're basically leaking while they're running. And I told them I knew about pelvic floor. So I said, you have to go see a pelvic floor specialist, because that's not something you learn in physical therapy school. This is an additional training that you do. So if you're looking for a pelvic floor therapist, you have to ask them, do you specialize in that? It's not a regular PT thing. And so no one was doing that in my hometown. So I was like, okay, I was working with athletes. Moment of truth. Can I be this pelvic floor? And so I flew to LA. I started my training and I just learned all the things and how people are living with these symptoms and what the statistics are crazy. It's like 50%. And our society doesn't want to treat all these things. I mean, they want to sell you Depends, right? Depends is a multi-billion-dollar business, right? All the commercials, if you're peeing in your pants, you can wear a diaper for the rest of your life and be happy. I'm like, that's not the way to live. It's very treatable. And so now that I do it, I just added it to my practice. So some of these orthopedic things that some people are dealing with, like hip pain, back pain that's not going away is actually pelvic floor related too.
Wow.
People don't realize that. You don't even have to have incontinence. You might be having a nagging pain, something's out of alignment, and we need to treat the pelvic floor too. So OBGYNs don't always send like new moms to pelvic floor. In Europe and places like France and Australia, every new mom gets an automatic referral to pelvic floor therapy. They don't live with these symptoms for years. I have women that come to me after 4 children. I've had this problem. Oh my God, like nothing's working. I can't leave my house, all these things. I can't jump, that's for sure. They can't do a jumping jack.
Wow.
They can't sneeze without having a problem. So sneezing, lifting, jumping, all these things you should be able to do without leaking urine. But it's so common that people think it's normal, right?
Yeah, I have friends
so-
who, yeah,
they're
I laugh
like,
so hard I
Well,
peed. Like, yeah.
laugh so far. Yeah, it's almost like a joke.
Mhm.
It's so common. People just normalized it. But the results I'm seeing is like, oh my God, I never thought it was possible. I had a lady the other day cancel her appointment because she's sick. She goes, oh my God, bad news. I have to cancel. I'm so sick. But good news, I'm coughing like crazy and not peeing my pants. So I didn't even know how to answer. I'm like, sorry, but yay,
But
you know,
congratulations,
like congratulations. Exactly. So yeah, it's the same muscles, joints. We treat it like any other body part. We don't hide. This is not a no-go zone right here. We have to deal with the issues instead of our society tells us to like, don't
Pretend
touch
it doesn't
here. It
exist.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No-go zone.
Yeah, when you like even just
Yeah.
you talking, like you think like how much of your body that is responsible for.
It's the middle.
Yeah.
It's the middle of
Yeah.
your body. People carry stress there like they do in their necks.
Mhm.
People who grind their teeth, how many of those people, like every other
Mhm,
person
mhm.
has a TMJ or grinding their teeth at night, they have pelvic floor dysfunction because you're actually carrying stress there, making your muscles too short to work. They're like, they don't have the right excursion to actually work right. They're always working, so they're too tight. And what do they have people doing for pelvic floor? They have, oh, just do the Kegels. A Kegel is a pelvic floor contraction. Like if you want to go to the bathroom, you're holding it, that's a Kegel. You don't do that with a tight muscle. If I had a spasm in my neck, would I tell you to contract it
To
1,000
tighten it
times?
more, yeah.
Actually, we need to massage and lengthen and stretch, and then we can work it, right? So it's the wrong advice. Anyone who's having any issues or even questions can contact me, and I'll tell you if you're appropriate for it.
What is the best way to contact you?
You can go on my website, jenniemurraypt.com. You can send me an email, jenniemurraypt@gmail.com, or you can call me in my office, and that's 704-243-8488.
Okay. And do you do
Yeah.
anything? I'm assuming it's
Yeah.
all in person. You don't do anything.
I don't do virtual. I've
Okay.
had a lot of people ask me.
Yeah.
I might add that on at some point, but I am such a manually trained therapist. I do a lot of hands-on releasing techniques. And even when I teach exercises, I'm making sure the right muscles are activating, right?
Mhm.
So it's hard for me to, during COVID, everyone's like virtual.
Yeah.
I was so zoomed out with all the kids and everything on Zoom that I was like, I don't feel like I'm doing my best work. But I am starting to think about that a little bit because some people don't have access to healthcare or they can't afford it or something like that. And something is better than nothing. And I
Mhm.
do a lot of education. There's bad habits that we do that cause our symptoms that we have to kind of tweak. There's some dietary considerations, postural. So you can do a lot of work with just communicating.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about it, expanding
Must be a
that.
great podcast idea. Speaking of peeing during workouts and things, you have a fundraiser tonight that you're a part of that I would be napping and getting ready for this, but tell everybody what's going on tonight.
So I'm a part of this. It's called a Burpee-thon, and it's benefiting the ALS community, fighting to fund research to end ALS. And I have ALS affecting my family directly, and so I partnered up with Regina Gunn-Arndt, and we're doing this Burpee-thon at the S3 CrossFit gym tonight. And basically we're looking to raise, I think the goal is about $42,700 We're going to be burping until that goal is reached. I think we are at 17,000 right now, so we need people's help because my team is feeling very nervous about how long we can do this.
The good news is they're nervous, but they won't pee.
Yes, we will not.
Okay.
And our team is called No Pee Burpee. I thought that was pretty appropriate.
That's funny.
So come out and support us. It's actually a fun event. There'll be a lot of great food, music, and auctions and things like that. It's at 6:30 at the S3 gym. I think you can find I'm not sure the address, but
okay. Well, the link is right there on the screen. We'll put it in the notes so people can figure that out. And if they can't make it, they can still donate.
Yeah, and you can watch it live. There's going to be a link for the live from your home. You can watch the whole thing. See how long we're going to be doing this.
So she'll be on TV later tonight. It's Jennie's day of TV.
Yes.
That's great. Jennie, thank you so much for dropping by and
Thank
chatting.
you. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Go to Jennie's website. I'll put it up here one more time. Get in contact with her, ask her questions, and let her help you, okay? Everybody, have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. Thank you for 38,000 views, downloads. It's very exciting. We'll see you on Monday with Mary Thorsby from the Before You Go podcast. All right, bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Bye, guys.